guys, hi. It's been so long since we've seen each other. Oh my goodness. We have so much to catch up on. So I thought that today I could do your makeup and kind of like catch you up on everything that's been going on over the last, it's been what, 5 years? That's so long. It's been so long. But I don't want to just like sit here and just talk at you the whole time. So is it okay if I do your makeup and kind of update you on what's been going on in my life? And then afterwards, you can tell me everything that's been going on with you too. Yeah? Okay, that sounds good. So let me remember the order of operations for makeup. I'm gonna start with your concealer. So, I guess the first big update is in 2021, in the summer of 2021, I left my home state, which is Florida, and I moved to North Carolina with a friend that I met on the internet, actually, in the ASMR community. And so I moved up there and stayed with her for a while, and we were gonna get an apartment together. And her parents actually, like, I stayed with her and her family, which I am just so deeply grateful for. Like, honestly, that was like a life-altering thing, and I'm not being dramatic when I say that either. Like, that literally, I wouldn't have been able to do it on my own without them. And so that was my first time being out on my own. So I'm gonna do your foundation now. This is it's not like full coverage or anything, but it kind of will like even your skin tone out a bit. And this is really good in my opinion. It's like nice and hydrating, doesn't really feel cakey or anything. But anyways, yeah, so I moved into her parents' house, and then we moved out and got our own apartment. And I kind of got a taste for what it's like, just being like out in the real world. I'm just gonna like dot this on your face. I worked full time. I went through so many different jobs. It's I'm not really proud of it, but we'll get into more of like why I went through so many jobs and all of that. But we ended up going our separate ways, and I got a new roommate. So that was, we lived in that first apartment for a couple years and then went our separate ways, and I moved in with somebody else that I had met at another job that I had. And that second place that I lived in was really nice. It was like, it wasn't an apartment, it was a little townhome, and it was the biggest house I'd ever lived in, like, in my life, because I grew up poor. And yeah, but let me go through like a little list of all the jobs that I've had. It's kind of hilarious. Oh, look at my lavender back there. That's lavender. That's my cat I adopted in it was either 2022 or 2023. That's horrible. I can't remember. But, so, that is not the product that I need. I worked in fast food, at Panera Bread. There's a couple other ones. Then I was a video editor, for a very short period of time with, a lady that ran a, like, metaphysical shop. I was a cake decorator. I worked in retail at CVS. I was a dairy stalker at a grocery store. I was a house cleaner, and that was my most recent, like, real job that I had. So basically, I am having a hard time opening this, but throughout that whole time that I was living there, like, I was equally thriving and struggling a lot with my mental health, because, like, I had struggled with my mental health since I was, like, I don't know, probably like 13 years old, but even before then, I just didn't really, like, understand what was happening. I'm gonna do a little bit of bronzer. So, in summer of 2024, I was hospitalized for my depression, which had been going on for, like, a really long time. I was, like, just struggling really bad, like, trying to deal with all of the trauma from my childhood. And then, like, I didn't have any family or anything. My whole family still lived in Florida while I was in North Carolina, and I didn't have much of a support system for a while until, like, what was it? 2023, I finally got health insurance for the first time, like, as an adult, and so I was finally able to get a therapist and start actually, like, working through some of my stuff, my mental health stuff. I worked a lot, like, through my trauma, but then I felt like even though I was working on my trauma, I'm just doing a little bit of blush now, but even though, like, I had worked through a lot of my trauma, I was still struggling a lot with my depression and anxiety, and just, like, I was just struggling really bad, like, trying to manage, working full-time and, like, being out on my own. Like, I had a really hard time balancing work and, like, taking care of myself, like, cooking meals and, like, exercising and finding time to do things that, like, I wanted to do. So a lot of my time was just go to work, come home. I'd probably, like, this is, again, something that I'm not super proud of, but it was kind of like I was doing out of survival. I'd, like, come home, DoorDash dinner for myself, and then just, like, go to sleep. and then wake up, go to work, go to sleep. And then I just, that, it's like, from an outside perspective, you know, I was managing, like, I was working, I was paying my bills, like, everything kind of seemed fine, but I was really, when you're not taking care of yourself, after a while, it takes a really hard toll on you, and I think that's kind of what happened, in 2024 when I ended up in the hospital, and that was the second time I had been hospitalized for my mental health and just diagnosed with depression. I'm gonna do your eyebrows next, but that was the second time I had been hospitalized and diagnosed with depression, but at the time I kind of felt like maybe it was something else going on, other than depression. So I asked the psychiatrist at the hospital if they did autism evaluations, and she said no, and I suspected that because I do have ADHD that has been diagnosed, but I just kind of suspected that because I had treated my ADHD and I still had like these other symptoms and things, and I felt like maybe the depression wasn't just depression because it would always stem from like a deep exhaustion. So then after I got out of the hospital, I went and got an assessment done for autism, and just like I wanted to kind of get assessed for everything because I had been struggling with my mental health for so long, and I've had my diagnosis of ADHD and depression and social anxiety and general anxiety, whatever. I don't remember if I said that already, but I had my diagnoses, but then it was like, I don't know, I feel like this long list of like jumbled alphabet list of diagnosis, I was like, I feel like this could be better explained by something like I just felt like that wasn't right, so I wanted to go get assessed, and I did, and I got diagnosed with level 1 autism spectrum disorder, which really, like, I had kind of suspected it based on like my own like years and years of like my own research and just like things that I've struggled with since literally like before I was in elementary school, like things I'd struggled with forever. And I got that diagnosis, and it really kind of like I don't know, even though I like kind of suspected it myself, in a way I felt like when I went and got assessed, they would be like, no, you just have depression and, you know, PTSD and anxiety or whatever. I didn't really expect to be diagnosed with it. So it kind of course, as it would for anybody, I had a bit of like, there was a grieving process but also like a big relief that I felt, because I finally kind of like understood myself and some of the things I had been struggling with, and I understood better like how I should treat myself and how I should cope with certain things, because like when you're dealing with like burnout or something like that, you treat it differently than you would like depression, for example. So with burnout, like you kind of need to rest, whereas with depression, you know, it's important to like fight it and all of that. And then learning that the causes of my anxiety were like the root causes of my depression and my anxiety were something else. Like it wasn't just like in my head, like there was a reason why I was experiencing so much depression and anxiety. And so after I was hospitalized and diagnosed and all of that, I ended up quitting my job, and because I just like, I don't recommend doing this. Like it was probably a pretty like it wasn't a very good decision, because I got really stressed out like financially, of course, but I needed to rest and I needed to like figure out, you know, I'm gonna do your eyeshadow now. I think I'm just gonna do like a more like natural look. Maybe I'll use like some of these colors here, but I made the decision to, I was just doing like DoorDash and Uber Eats to pay my bills, so I ended up making the decision to move back to Florida, because I knew like that I needed support and I needed help, and I didn't have much of a support system in North Carolina. I wanted to go back to school to get either my GED or my high school diploma, and I wanted to like further my education. So like through all of the therapy and stuff that I had been through, it really did help me like create like real goals for myself. And so for the first time in my life, I had like actual goals that I wanted to reach. I wanted to go to school for psychology. Like I knew I wanted to do something in the psychology field. So I'm gonna go in with a little bit of a deeper shade. I'm gonna go in with this one in your crease to kind of add some more dimension. But yeah, and I knew that like I wasn't gonna be able to do that living on my own, you know, with the stress of working full-time and paying bills and trying to balance like taking care of myself and doing school and all of that. So I made the decision to move back to Florida, which I did in January of 2025, so this year. And yeah, I think that was a really good decision, because I actually like I came back and I did end up, instead of getting my GED, I I did an adult high school program through a college, and I ended up getting my diploma, and now I am planning on going into like an entry-level psychology field job, one where I don't necessarily I don't need college for it. I just get like some certifications just to see how I like it. And yeah, so I ended up getting I wanted a second opinion on my autism diagnosis, because that's a really big thing. That's a really big deal, especially like I got diagnosed in November of 2024, and then I was 24 years old when I got diagnosed. So I went my entire life not knowing and just kind of like struggling my way through life, just being like, oh, this is how everybody feels, like everybody struggles like this, whatever. But so I wanted to get a second opinion on it. So I got another psychologist here in Florida and got a second opinion and got my diagnosis confirmed. And now it's more like I went my whole life thinking like, what is wrong with me? Like, how do I fix myself? And now I'm like, how do I adjust my life and like make changes to make my life a little bit easier for me? Like, how do I accommodate for myself? I'm gonna go in with an even deeper shade. I'm gonna get like this one here and kind of go like really close to your lash line to almost create like a liner sort of thing. But yeah, I don't know, it's been tough. And you know, just dealing with like other life stuff that I'm not gonna get into because it's a little too personal. But yeah, just like family stuff, and I don't know, I've come such a long way though since we last saw each other 5 years ago. Like, I learned what it's like to be out on my own. I finally like got health insurance, and like I've been to a doctor, which is like most people, well, I don't want to make like a generalization like that, but I feel like a lot of people grow up like with, you know, you grow up going to the doctor, going to the dentist, always having like access to healthcare and like things that you need. But I didn't grow up that way. Like, I never like regularly went to the doctor and stuff like that, and or the dentist. And so like having health insurance and like finally having like that autonomy over my life and like taking control, like I really learned a lot. And even though like I had to come back to Florida and like I'm living with family now, at first, like when I had to come back, and like it felt like I was accepting defeat, and like I was like, oh no, like I went out on my own and I tried and I failed. But it's still like an ongoing process. There's still a part of me that feels like that, but I'm really, really trying to put it in the perspective, like change my perspective on it and be like, well, I went, I tried, I did it for a while, I realized, hey, this isn't working for me. And so I came back, asked for support that I needed, which if you have been through trauma and like neglect, and you know how difficult it can be to ask for help, or to just kind of like throw your hands up and be like, I can't do this on my own. So a part of me, like I am really proud of myself for doing that, for asking for help, and I've actually accomplished one of the goals that I had, and I'm excited for the next phase of my life where I can actually like start a career rather than just like felt like I was just treading water. Like I was just trying to stay afloat. I was struggling. I was about to start drowning, but I didn't. I came back. I'm doing just a little bit of eyeliner now. But yeah, that's kind of where I've been. And I stopped doing ASMR because like I used to love doing, like, that was my biggest hobby, and like I found so much community and so much love and kind of an escape in the ASMR community. Like it was my happy place, but I stopped doing it because I was so like overwhelmed and stressed out with life. But you know, I'm feeling a lot more like just getting back to myself after being in such a depressive state for so long, and like just struggling. It's really hard. Even if you love doing something, when you're depressed or struggling with your mental health like that, it's really hard to even do the things that you love. So that's kind of what happened with me. I'm gonna do your mascara now. But yeah, I am super glad to be back here talking with you, and just I'm happy that I have like answers, and I finally like understand part of why I was struggling so bad. Yeah. Okay, blink, 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 blink. Okay, your other eye. Alright, blink, 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 and then look up. I'm just gonna do a little bit on your lower lash line, lower lashes. Yeah, there's like a warehouse over there, like in the yard, and they make a lot of noise sometimes, so. But yeah. And now I'm just kind of doing Uber Eats for work, but I have like a few bills that I have to pay still, but I don't have as much like financial responsibility at the moment. But I am planning on like moving out again, and hopefully then, like right now I'm just kind of doing like the lo-fi stuff because my microphone and most of my belongings are in storage. But the good thing is my lo-fi videos actually perform the best on my channel, so I guess it works out anyways. Just gonna do your lipstick now. The lip liner and the lipstick. Go like this. Oh, my tummy is rumbling. I am hungry. Honestly though, the house cleaning job that I had, I loved that so much. That was the best job that I've had. I actually really enjoyed it, and I think like part of why I enjoyed it so much was I really like when I would go into the clients' houses and you know, if I could tell that they were like really busy parents, or especially like elderly disabled people who couldn't clean themselves or couldn't clean their houses themselves, I really felt like I was making a difference, like I was helping somebody, and I really found like a sense of purpose in that, which is why I want to go into like psychology, where I feel like I can genuinely help people and like actually make a difference in their lives. When I'm doing like fast food or like retail and stuff like that, it doesn't like there's no sense of like purpose in that, you know? And I'm somebody that really needs to feel like what I'm doing matters, and I have to understand like in order for me to feel motivated, I have to oh my goodness, kitty, I have to understand why I'm doing something, and I have to feel like what I'm doing is for a reason, you know what I mean? That was very repetitive, what I just said, but anyways, I think that's it for your makeup. I think we're all done. But yeah, that's my life update. This is my cat back here. This is Lavender. She's so comfy, I don't really want to disturb her. But she's a tuxedo cat. Look, I'm not even gonna lie. I owe my life to this cat, because on days when I would struggle really bad, I'd be like, you know what? I cannot leave my Lavender. I can't leave her. Like, I would just think about her and how, like, she needs me. Look, if you're struggling with your mental health and you have the means to, get a pet. Really, it makes a huge difference. But I did kind of wanna talk about like my autism evaluation and like diagnosis process, because I feel like that's important, and especially for like late diagnosed, or you know, if you suspect that you're autistic and you're a woman, especially, because it gets missed a lot in women. Because let me tell you a secret. The diagnostic criteria and the whole like diagnosis process is kind of based on white boys, like little like white boys. So it gets missed a lot in women. And for me, like the reason I'm like going so in on this is because that's really what a lot of like my life has been over the past few years. It's just like figuring out my mental health and like healing, I guess. So for a lot of women and like teenage girls and like young girls even, you just kind of get diagnosed with depression and anxiety and sometimes BPD. For me, I even got misdiagnosed with bipolar disorder. So yeah, my diagnostic process was like I had to advocate for myself and go out and like ask for it basically, and the doctors and stuff like didn't really, I feel like they were like, okay, like we'll assess you, but like it's whatever. I ended up getting diagnosed and the doctor's like, well, you do meet the criteria for autism spectrum disorder level 1, which is level 1 is the lowest support needs, so yes, that could be classified as high functioning, but the way that it was for me is like high functioning, but it costs my mental health and my physical health. But yeah, the process was, we had like 4 2-hour-long sessions, and a lot of it was like I filled out some questionnaires and she asked me like some questions about my past and stuff like that, and then we did some like IQ testing type stuff. It was honestly really exhausting, but and even after my diagnosis, I think because of the way that I present myself and because I, like for the most part, I look and I can act pretty like normal, so people, like I would tell my family or I would tell like a doctor or something and they'd be like, oh, do you believe that? So I guess even after I got like my diagnosis and I was like, holy shit, like I finally figured out something that like I found like there's a reason why I'm the way that I am, and there are other people like me out there, and I finally understood a lot of things about myself. Even then, people were incredibly like invalidating. So I guess if you're like a high functioning person, that's something that unfortunately might happen. But yeah, and then when I got like a second opinion, even my psychologist was like he told me that he had his doubts about it at first, but then after he talked to me for a while, it made more sense. But yeah, it explained a lot, because I always thought like my depression and my anxiety were just like their own things, but now I understand like a lot of the other things that I struggled with my mental health, they all kind of like stemmed from autism. And let me just there's a whole like other like my life itself, like just from an objective standpoint, was pretty like traumatizing, but then the added layer of trauma of being undiagnosed autistic and trying so hard to like be normal and fit in, and like struggling with things that I felt like nobody else around me was struggling with, and the feeling of isolation, like it felt like living in a glass box where I could see people and I could talk to them, but it's like I couldn't actually connect with other people. Look, my cat came to join. This is Lavender. I'm gonna put her down now so I don't bother her, but yeah, it's just crazy, you know, like growing up not knowing something like that. It's kind of traumatizing, but we don't let labels define us. We don't let labels hold us back. And I'm still just figuring out how to like adapt, how to shape my life to work for me. But another thing that I wanted to say before I end this video is I'm so grateful for the ASMR community and for like having this platform to be able to like share my story and to just like be creative and tap on stuff and be silly, like do my little silly role plays and dress up and like just have like some kind of an outlet where like this community is so loving and accepting. Like it's just so nice to have this space where I feel like I can be myself, and like I don't know, I'm just so grateful. I kind of lost my train of thought there. But yeah, I just wanted to express my gratitude for how do I do this? I just wanted to express my gratitude for the ASMR community and for you guys, my subscribers, my old subscribers who, even when I wasn't posting, I would still get comments, and I do see the comments, even if I don't respond to them or reply to them. I see you guys' comments, and I feel the love, and I am extending all the love back to you guys. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. I hope to continue making videos and just like reintegrating myself back into the community after such a long absence. But leave me a comment. I think my voice is getting a little tired. Leave me a comment and let me know like what types of content you want to see. My content for a while, like at least for the next few months probably, is gonna be lo-fi because my microphone is in storage and I don't have the adapter for it. I haven't used it in so long, I don't even know if it works. But yeah, just leave me a comment. Let me know like what type of content you like or what type of content you want to see, or just leave me a comment and let me know like how you're doing. And yeah, so goodbye. I will see you in the next video.